Turkey, that's what we're going to have for Christmas. So I'm going to show you how to take care of this bird, this majestic, angelic, feared and revered poultry delight that a lot of people say tastes a little dry. And there's all kinds of creative ways to do it, from doing it on the barbecue, doing it in a deep fryer, the traditional way of roasting it whole in the oven. I'm going to show you what we do at the restaurant. And I'm going to tell you at the restaurant, because we are also a catering company, in the month of December, we serve about 800 or 900 portions of turkey. And when we have to go on turkey, what we do is we take it apart and cook it off the bone. And there's a lot of advantages to that. One, it only takes about an hour and 10 minutes to cook the turkey from start to finish. So it's not going to be in the oven anywhere near long enough to dry out. Two, you get this ready a day or two before, you can make a nice stock. You know what you do with that stock? You make a delicious turkey gravy with that stock and pan drippings. You make your stuffing infused with turkey stock. You even put it in your mashed potatoes. There's all kinds of uses for it, for this turkey dinner. And you're going to put so much turkey flavor in everything else. Nobody's going to say, oh, the turkey would have tasted better if you cooked it on the bone. This is going to be a lot simpler and a lot easier. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. I'm Executive Chef James McInnes, and welcome to my kitchen. Alright everybody, you got about 9 minutes of my narration. This is obviously going to be a two-parter. Today we're just going to take the turkey apart. We're going to do that. So I cut the skin that the butcher had put the legs in together. You can see that you cut the skin at the hip, and that lets you pop out the thigh bone from the hip socket. And then you can just come through it with a knife. I have to do it again on the other side. And now you have both legs out. You want to take your boning knife and go down the keel bone, which is the center breastbone. You want to scrape against it to try and keep as much meat on the breast as you can, and then remove those from the carcass. So obviously a turkey is a very big bird, so I have two separate roasting pans out on my counter just to make sure that I can work clean. I'm also going to take the thigh bone out. So if you open up the thigh and remove the bone, then you can roll it up, and when you go to slice that turkey, you're gonna just get nice clean slices of dark meat, and it's not gonna be like as, I don't know, I don't want to say stringy, but like, you know, when you have the thigh bone and you're just like taking the meat off the bone, it's easier, I guess, to share this way maybe. But the legs I am gonna leave whole. Those are a nightmare to try and debone at this point. So just make sure whatever you do to one side, you do to both sides, and then we're going to this way. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to make our stock with the bones. That's the plan. So we're going to get all the bones into the roasting pan, and we're going to get all the meat into the smaller roasting pan. And then we're going to put all of our aromatic vegetables into the roasting pan. So as you can see, it's important to keep yourself clean when working with poultry. So in the bucket, I had soap and water, and then I had a disinfectant, like sanitary spray, for a second pass. And you would be surprised, I think I had to wipe the counter down 3 times during this process, and I probably had to wash my hands about 5 or 6 times. So I'm getting all my vegetables, like I was alluding to earlier, into my roasting pan, getting some oil on there, and I'm seasoning it up with Christmas spices, which would be, or herbs, which would be thyme, rosemary, savory. Then I'm also adding garlic powder and onion powder. And I'm using the same spice blend. And I'm using orange seasoning salt. I'm using the same spice blend to spice up marinate my meat. Marinate, dry brine, whatever you're going to call it. So I have a slurry of it made up in my mixing bowl. I had to do it twice. So to make sure I didn't lose track of ingredients, when I made it the first time, I put all the ingredients on my right side as I was finished with them, all the herbs and spices. And then when I did it the second time, I went from that side and put them away on my left side. So that way I knew if it moved over, I'd used it. And I gave everything a good rub around in here. And then I poured the excess on top of them, and I put this in the fridge overnight. And this way I was able to get, and that's the other thing. Did you just see that? The thigh, how it's open? I'm able to get seasoning on the inside before you roll it up too. When you re-roll it when you're going to roast it. So that way you can get a nice flavor everywhere, and it's going to stay extra moist cooking it this way because you're only going to be cooking it for like an hour and change. You're not roasting this bird for hours on end. And this is really nice. You can do this a day or even 2 days before. So Christmas this year, Christmas 2023 is on Monday. There's no reason you can't have this done on Saturday. So here we go. Boom, look at this. I was rushing it a little bit. I had a lot of stuff to do that day. It was only in the oven for an hour. Probably could have cut that back in half, and it might have browned up a little more, but this was basically the limit of fine. Any less and I would have had to leave it in. Like, this was the earliest I was willing to take it out, because you can see the downside is just a little bit raw, which is fine for making a stock. Like, it's going to come to a full boil. We bust out the axe here, swing it like a man, but I also didn't want to throw like raw chicken everywhere in the kitchen, so not exactly swinging it like a man, I guess. And anyways, those are my 2 biggest pots. I didn't bring any big pots home from work, so this is 1 turkey into 2 regular sized pots. Do you remember my homemade chicken bouillon? Well, there I just put a big ice cube of each into each pot. I'm seasoning it up with cloves, allspice, bay leaves, making sure I get everything in there. Camera was not running when I deglazed the roasting pan, but I did put some water in it, put it over the center burner, and deglazed it. Then I boiled those bones, simmered them, brought them to a boil, then simmered them down for roughly 3 hours. I'm using my tongs to get all the big pieces out. Okay, I'm getting all those big pieces out of there, so that way I can then put it through a strainer and not make a mess everywhere. I have my Dutch oven out, and I was debating on how much. Do I need 1 Dutch oven or 2 Dutch ovens? So I happen to be fortunate enough that we have 2. So we'll find out in a minute if I needed 2. But basically, get all your big bones out, and get everything through your strainer. That way you can reduce it, because these 2 pots still need to reduce down into 1 pot. Yeah, from 2 to 1. And you can see how dark it is. So turkey stock falls somewhere in between a chicken stock and a beef stock. It's got more flavor than a chicken, but you're not going to get like a beef stock quality demi-glaze out of it. It's just not going to happen. But for making your Christmas dinner, this is going to be perfect. You can use this stock to flavor your mashed potatoes. You can use this stock to flavor your stuffing. You can even, if you wanted to cook your turkey the day before, slice it up and then pour a little bit of stock in your pan, and then and slice it up when it's cool after it's rested. Then on Christmas Day, you only have to throw it back in the oven for like 40 minutes to reheat it, like half hour. And then it's not going to dry out because it's going to be steaming inside of your tinfoil wrapped roasting pan with some of that stock. So yeah, you can see I ended up needing 2 Dutch ovens, and I reduced that until it fit into 1 Dutch oven. And that took another couple hours. Like, I started this whole process at 10 a.m. and I think I finished at 10 p.m. But you don't have to do this all in one day. You could have put the stock away and then got back at it. Like, you could do the reduction Christmas morning if you wanted, or Christmas Eve morning if you're not planning on double cooking your turkey. And then all we have to do here is strain it out and put it away, and then we have it for use at a later time, which would be tomorrow, because I shot part 2 the very next day. So I'm going to upload part 2 relatively soon. I don't normally do 2 full-length videos in one day or in 1 week, but that's what we're going to do this week because Christmas is coming, and I want you to have this valuable Christmas, turkey, Thanksgiving, year-round information on how to make tender, delicious, and not dry turkey. Thanks for visiting me in my kitchen this week, hopefully twice this week. I'm Executive Chef James McGinnis, wishing you happy holidays.